Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, and the first time in quite a while, we've got a tactical preview live. We haven't done one of these in about a month now, so of course we are talking about Chelsea today. Before that, get in the chat and let me know how you guys are doing. It's a big day for Manchester United in terms of league position, in terms of wanting to finish in the top 5, to have Champions League football next season. Make or break time. Make or break. No matter what, Erik ten Hag has to find a way to win. I feel that if we don't, we're probably done in terms of top 5. So it is make or break day. So of course we need to figure out a way for Erik ten Hag to secure all 3 points in this game, because it's going to be crucial. It's not going to be easy. I'm expecting quite a weird game of football. In terms of the Manchester United lineup, that's something we really need to figure out in this stream, because I think there's question marks in a lot of different places. So of course we need to discuss that. But before that, let me get into the chat and talk to you guys. Callum, good to see you. Matt, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Davidson said, hello, AJ. Been a while around here. Good to have you back, my friend. Hope you've been well over the past few weeks. Good to have you back in. While I was away, I did a lot of research. I found that Erik ten Hag has been doing it very wrongly. That seems like a fair conclusion, I'll be honest. I would suggest your research was pretty effective if that was your conclusion. I'd love you to expand a little bit more as well. Today's lineup. Like I said, ultimately the most important thing today is 3 points. Nothing else matters as much as that. David's with the gifted membership and has gone to Davidson. That is literally perfect. David, thank you very much. That is greatly appreciated. Once again, starting the stream off with a bang and with a bit of positivity, which is needed around this time as a Manchester United fan. So thank you very much, David. That is greatly appreciated. Guys, if you are in the chat, make sure to spam some love hearts to say thank you. What an absolute legend. What an absolute legend. Before we figure out lineup and things like that for today, I just want your first thoughts. Where do you actually feel we are going into this game? How do you feel going into this Chelsea game? Do you think we're going to win? Are there any players which you feel are going to do something for us? You know, are you confident? Are you a bit nervous? Let me know how we're feeling. David saying this is his second month as a member. Perfect. I believe you've now got the red badge, right? Is that not 3 months? The red badge? Maybe it is 2 months. How are we feeling going into this game? It really does feel, I've said it a few times already, we're only 3 minutes into the stream, but it feels like make or break. We just have to win. We just have to win. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be attractive football. We simply have to win. But for Ten Hag and for his future, if he wants to be Manchester United manager next season, has he got to think a little bit bigger than that? Has he got to focus on performance as well? Because for literally the club and the league table, we have to win. 3 points is the most important thing. But for Ten Hag, if he wants this job moving forward, he's got to be thinking that he's got to start playing good football eventually, right? Do you think that is something which comes into it today? Is that something which you guys are looking for? Are you putting, much weight on performance tonight, or does it not bother you too much? Matt saying, especially with the context of Chelsea and Depot struggling, has to be a win for Erik or it's over surely. That's how it feels. Other question, with Ten Hag and his kind of long-term future. Do you feel that Ten Hag's future is dependent on top 5? Do you think that's maybe where Ineos are at? Where if Ten Hag can get a Champions League football, we perhaps keep him one more season? Do you think it is, again, to use the term, make or break for his career at Manchester United? Or do you think he could get away with finishing, 6th or 7th and still keep his job? I'm not too sure. Codename, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. We don't defend with enough players around the ball. We don't put pressure on the ball. We don't attack with enough players in the box. And when we counter-press, we don't do it every time. Deverton, to be honest, you have pretty much summed up everything I've had to say on the channel. Because I feel very, very similar. I was saying this morning on Discord, it's got to the point now where it's just so repetitive. It is so repetitive. We just say the same thing every week. It's why there hasn't been much content this week. Because there's nothing to talk about without just repeating ourselves. Snicky saying that that's an issue for him. He needs results, but he also needs to play good football. I agree. I think there is that demand as a Manchester United manager. That's a lot of pressure. You can't develop a good system without failure, in my opinion. And at United, failure ain't an option. And I think if it is an option, there comes a point where it no longer is. And I think Ten Hag is at that point. I think if at the start of the season we hadn't necessarily seen perfect results, but we'd kind of seen the direction, we'd seen the style, the philosophy, and it was a good one, I think we would have been more okay with sacrificing results in the short term. It's the fact that what we've had this season is poor results and poor performances. When you get both, it's just a manager's nightmare, right? So it's a problem. Surely Pochettino would have analysed our last game, and if we play the same, it's going to be a tough evening for us. I think it's going to be really tough either way. Snipes, good to see you, mate. Good to see you, my friend. I think whatever happens, he will remain in the job, but wouldn't have 3 months into next season. Yeah, fair enough. It felt like Man United as a whole felt like a mess, no concrete structure plan at all. So I think this also comes into team selection tonight, right? Because for the long term of this club, I would say it's not a bad idea to protect Kobbie Mainoo tonight. I would seriously consider not dropping him, but moving him to the bench for this one-off game, just to protect him. Erik ten Hag said several times earlier in the season that he can't really play 3 games every week at this stage. I would be really tempted to protect him. And the same in the case of Garnacho as well. Garnacho looked really tired the other day. He's played however many games in a row now, started all of them. He looks tired. I'd like to protect him. Raphael Varane. Is he fit? Is he one of these players who is kind of borderline fit? He could play, but should we? Again, ideally, you protect him. You play someone like Kambala in defence. But suddenly, if you're dropping Raphael Varane, you're dropping Garnacho, you're dropping Kobbie Mainoo, we're losing a lot there. We do suddenly lose a lot. It's a really difficult balance because Ten Hag is fighting for his future in terms of the short-term future of results. We need points. He's then fighting for the long-term future of needing to produce good football. At the same time, are these players ready to play? We do have to protect them. We have to protect them. Casemiro is another example. He's fit, but is he properly fit? Mason Mount, he's fit, but can he come in and play 90 minutes? I don't know. My favourite and most knowledgeable United YouTube channel. Keep up the great work, bro. Love. Thank you very much, my friend. That is greatly, greatly appreciated. I really appreciate the support. Thank you very much. What do you guys feel with the idea of protecting some players tonight? Or do you think that's completely off the cards? Particularly, we've got Liverpool at the weekend. That's going to be tough. We saw the last Liverpool game. Of course, it won't go to extra time this weekend. But we saw the nature of that game. Do we have a similar problem again this weekend? We've got to protect them at some point. We do have to protect them. When do you do it? We don't have that luxury. Because some people say perhaps you could do it against Coventry in the FA Cup semi-final. Because they're a lower league side. We should go beat them comfortably. Blah, blah, blah. But it's the only thing we've got left to play for. So we've got to go strong in that game. When do you start protecting the players? And they do need protecting because they've all been injured all season. And the ones which haven't been injured haven't missed as many games, so therefore probably need rest. We're talking about Marcus Rashford. He's got to be close to needing a break. I don't think he's missed a game through injury yet this season. Bruno Fernandes, we know, never misses a game. Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo, since coming back from injury, has played pretty much every game. These players have got to be tired. Dalot, when was the last time he had a rest? It's really difficult. Edwick, good to see you, mate. Davidson saying he would go Onana in goal, Dalot, Varane, Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Mainoo, Bruno, Garnacho, Rashford, Højlund. Protecting the players is off the card. This game is a must-win, and Ten Hag always had played his best team in must-wins. I think that's a fair point. I think I'd probably see him going strong, but I think we've got to consider protecting as well. This channel has now become more like a family, and I love that we can openly discuss our opinions. That is super kind of you to say. I'm glad you feel that way. We have got a really good community here. A really good community. I couldn't ask for better. This team looks tired and confused. So does the manager. Ali is in the chat. We haven't seen Ali for a while. Ali, my friend, I hope you're well. I hope you've been good. Hope you had a good few weeks. I know you were ill a few weeks back. I hope you're better now. Hope you're fully back up to speed. And of course, he is in with a beautiful donation. $10. Thank you very much, Ali. That is greatly appreciated. He said, finally, the time zone is synced. It was off in the past few weeks until England moved the clock. Yep, we moved the weekend just gone. So hopefully these streams are going to be better for more people across the world now. Good to see you all, great people. It has been a minute. Ten Hag needs time. The players need to step up. Thank you very much for the donation. As always, guys, spam some love hearts in the chat. I didn't even do it on purpose. Turn the chat green. We got there eventually. Ali, that is greatly, greatly appreciated. Great to have you back, mate. And yeah, I hope you've had a good few weeks. Hopefully, like I said, now with these, the clock synced a bit better. Hopefully we get more people on the streams again. Honestly, AJ, your channel is the most knowledgeable and most relatable. Ah, guys, I'm blushing. I'm blushing. You guys are too kind. You guys make it this way, by the way. You're the ones who make the channel. You are the ones who make the channel. Anyway, let's move into, based on what we've said so far, let's move into how on earth you set up tonight. First of all, starting 11, and then perhaps from there we can go into shape, structure, strategy, high press, low block, mid block, whatever. So, in goal, it's going to be Onana, right? I don't see any other option there. It's going to be Onana in goal, and there's no reason that shouldn't change. I think his form's been improved recently. I would still like to see more of the passing side of his game, but I think that's a tactical issue. In general, I think Onana's been absolutely brilliant. He commands his box well. He takes pressure off his centre-backs. Honestly, recently, really, really pleased with Onana. In the defence is where the first question marks come in. In terms of fullbacks, we don't have many options. Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, probably our only options, in fact. I would say, you know, in other weeks we could have bought someone like Lindelof in at fullback, but that doesn't seem like an option because he's now out for another month. Poor Lindelof. Lisandro Martinez, nowhere to be seen. Out for another month now. That's fun. Cambuela, I guess you could move to fullback in this game. That could be a viable solution. Maguire is back in training. He came on the other day. He's not fully fit, but I think he's going to have to play. And then it's Evans who is back in training. It's Varane who is back in training. I believe they've both been cleared fit to play, but are they actually fit? You know, are they actually ready? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. It's all your hard work, AJ, and your deep knowledge. This is why the community is growing like a big family. I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate that, guys. I want to keep growing. We've had some good growth in the last month. We've gone up about 1,000 subscribers, I believe, which has been great. If we can do that every month, we're in a great place. Yeah, the channel's going well at the moment, although the last week or so, not so much, but that's because there's nothing to talk about. Maguire and Varane, I think it would be. Yeah, I would guess so. I would be really tempted to go Cambuela for the sake of protecting Varane. Because my concern is this. Lindelof out for a month. Lisandro Martinez out for a month. Maguire just coming back from injury. Evans just back from injury. Varane back from injury. If we were to lose Varane tonight, you know, say if we play him, but he's not fully ready to play, we rush him back, and then he picks up an injury which is going to put him out for 6 weeks, then what? So I would consider protecting him tonight, but unfortunately, the position we find ourselves in, I don't actually know that we have that luxury. I don't know that we have that luxury to protect him. Let me know what you guys think. At what point do we call Licha injury prone? It's a difficult one because he hasn't had it previously in his career, so it's difficult to say. This season, he's definitely been injury prone. I think it would have to continue into next season for it to be more of a label for him. But we'll see as we get there. Only 10 likes so far, guys. We can run those numbers up. I know people feel a little bit defeated at the club at the moment, but we can run those numbers up. Get some likes on the stream, guys. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm unsure of the fullback situation because Mudryk can stay wide, so we want a fullback staying back to cover wide, so Aaron Wan-Bissaka could do it, but we want him to shut Cole Palmer down. Yeah, obviously it could be Sterling comes into the attack as well. Also, I believe someone said it earlier, codename, can we switch Wan-Bissaka and Dalot? Also something to consider. Is that something which you guys would do? Because another problem we've got, and unfortunately, there is literally no solution to this problem. Maybe one, but it's not perfect. Where are the left footers? We know that Ten Hag is a manager who kind of famously, particularly in the earlier parts of the season, wants that balance of left-footed players and right-footed players. If you go through this side, they are all right-footed apart from Rasmus Højlund. You know, we've got players who can use their weak foot, but this whole squad naturally wants to take their first touch this way, this way, this way, this way. Højlund not so much. This way, this way. They all want to do it. And this is a big problem. Because we saw it against Brentford the other day. It made life so easy for Brentford. Because we became really predictable, I felt, in that game. We weren't great at anything, let's be honest. It was a really bad performance. And in possession, I think, was actually our better side of the game. But being so one-footed as a team, and all of that being on the right foot, it really limits us. And I think that's why people wonder about Dalot swapping with Wan-Bissaka. Not because Dalot's left-footed, obviously, but he is better with his weak foot than what Wan-Bissaka is. Wan-Bissaka really does struggle with his weaker foot. So that is something which we... First, should we go Varane and Maguire? I think that's what Ten Hag is most likely to go for. I would really consider Kumbuala. Would anyone go Kumbuala fullback? Dalot fullback? You know, take Wan-Bissaka out and go for Kumbuala in the side? Or would no one really consider that? I agree, it's the sole reason why Wan-Bissaka was misplacing passes in the final third. Yeah, he's just unnatural on his weaker foot. I mean, my opinion always is, you're a professional footballer. I don't understand how you don't develop a better weak foot in your career. But, hey-ho. So many of these players are they have a lot of angle biases and it doesn't suit the side at all. You know, imagine if we had Licha left centre-back, Shaw left-back. That would be much better. The angles to play out from the back would be much nicer. And I think we're going to struggle with that in this game. Playing out from the back, I think, will be a problem. Chelsea aren't great at pressing. They make some similar mistakes to what we do. Passive, disconnected. They're quite poor as well. But someone like Gallagher, as Matt said there, I think Kobe will want support to help with the presence of Gallagher's energy and pressing. I completely agree. Because Kobe Manu, is of course really good in this first phase. He is press resistant, he is things like that. But Gallagher, we are talking about maybe the most intense presser in the Premier League. To leave him completely alone in this area would be a mistake in my opinion. I would expect Dalot inverted quite a lot in this game. Whether it's from the right-hand side or from the left, I would expect him to be in here on a regular basis. Kumbuala is not good enough to replace any player in the back line. He will be a massive drop-off. Yeah, fair enough. Josh just using any opportunity to say the words Big Willie Kumbuala. I respect that. So would you guys... Let's assume Dalot's got to invert. Would you have him from the right-hand side inverting like this? Because at least it leaves Varane and Wan-Bissaka as our wider defenders. Or would you take Dalot in from the left, like so, but it does leave Maguire with a bit more wide defending to do? FP, good to see you, mate. Great to have you in the chat. Hope you're well, my friend. Hope you've been good. We're just discussing basically what we go for in terms of starting 11 against Chelsea tonight. We've got as far as we're into the back four at the moment, trying to figure out basically what side to go with Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. That's the plan at the moment. That's what we're trying to do. Why do we have 11 outfield players on the pitch for Chelsea? Because I was saying it could be Sterling or Mudryk. I weren't too sure. I understand how you dropped Casemiro, but I doubt Ten Hag will do that. Yeah, we'll come on to that conversation in a second, the Casemiro debate. Because I guess that affects what we need from our fullback as well. What you do with Casemiro. Again, is he fit? Is he up to speed? I don't know. I reckon Mount will play right wing. I'm so tempted to say we protect Garnacho. He looked really tired at the weekend, so I'm incredibly tempted to suggest that. Again, I'm not sure if it will happen though. The problem with, obviously, kind of the current structure is let's go Wan-Bissaka on the left-hand side. Let's just, you know, for the sake of it, let's say this is the system. So Kobe Manu and Mount in midfield, for example. Bruno Fernandes pushing further forward. Mount pushing forward into here. It could be McTominay, whoever. The problem we've got is Rashford is a player who, in my opinion, we discussed this at length yesterday, is a really good ball carrier. He's a good dribbler. He's good 1-versus-1. He's quite explosive. But the problem for him is when he is left 1-versus-1, I think he becomes quite selfish in his tendencies. At times, yes, go at them. But at times, you've got to switch it up and play passes. There's no one here to really give him that. There's no one in this side. Yes, Bruno can get towards him. But again, Bruno is right-footed. He wants to come this way. Wan-Bissaka is right-footed and just not the most creative player you're ever going to see at the best of times. It leaves us with this dynamic down this side where Rashford gets the ball here. He stands up with the defender 1-versus-1, and if he can't beat them, he'll go backwards one. But then from here, again, the whole idea of our players being right-footed, everyone then wants to play towards this side of the pitch, and it makes us so predictable. It's so predictable. It's why I wonder if someone like Anthony can offer us something different in this game. He played well last time against Chelsea, to be fair. Won the penalty early on. At least Antony being left-footed is a slightly different dynamic. I don't mind what side of the pitch you play him on, but at least he gives us something different in the attack. It's a player trying to go the other way, use their other foot. Of course, let's make it clear, right-footers can still play to the left. But I'm talking about naturally what they want to do when they get the ball. All of these players want to play this way. Oh yeah, he did start Chelsea. Yeah, so it was Antony right wing, Garnacho left wing, Højlund up front. Because that was kind of around that spell where Rashford was struggling to get into the team at the time. Which seems unlikely now. Seems like Rashford's back to nearly being a guaranteed starter at the moment. Not saying his form is the best, but it seems to be Ten Hag's choice at the moment. What about Antony at left back? I don't hate the idea. And obviously, again, being left-footed, it offers us a certain balance, which we need in the side. My concern would be, you know, you're playing a good Chelsea side here who have some good forwards. Is it risky to play him in a defensive position against a Cole Palmer, who is really good and full of confidence and things like that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the Antony left-back discussion. I think there's games where you could do it. I'm not sure Chelsea is that game because I'm expecting an incredibly open game of football here because we've got two sides who want to get on the ball and play quite vertical football, you know, quickly attack the opposition. But then when they lose the ball as a result, they both lack the intensity to perform a counter press, partly because the rest defence is poor, but the counter press is poor. There's a lack of intensity. There's a lack of negative transitioning. I think we're going to see a really transitional game here. At times, end-to-end, absolute bonkers. We saw it last time at Old Trafford in this game. It was a weird old game of football, and to be honest, I'm expecting another one here. I don't think Chelsea is the game to try Antony at left back since it's such a crucial game and he can't defend Palmer. Hasn't got that defensive IQ. We had about 28 shots versus Chelsea. Yeah, I want to do that towards the end of this stream, by the way. Shot bingo. I want everyone to predict how many shots Chelsea are going to have in this game because we tend to ship quite a lot of shots towards our own goal. Anyway, I think if we're thinking a combination of what we would do, but also what Ten Hag will do, I think Dalot right back because, and purely because, his form has been so good, to move him just doesn't feel right. You know, when he's one of our only players currently, I would say, really excelling, to then move him seems a little bit counterproductive. So I would keep him, I think, at right back and allow him to invert. I would like to see that. How about in the midfield? So just for the sake of being able to see this clearly, we'll go back to this, like so. In midfield, what sort of dynamic would you go for? We've got options. For once, to be fair, it's probably the one position where we do have options. We've got Kobbie Mainoo, we've got Mason Mount, we've got Bruno Fernandes, we've got Casemiro, who I believe is fit, McTominay, Eriksen, and Sofian Amrabat. We do have some options. We do have some choices. I don't know that either way we quite get the perfect blend and balance which we would like, but that's where we're at with the Manchester United squad. Not sure. Now, again, I believe last time we played Chelsea, I want to say that Amrabat played. I'm sure Amrabat and McTominay started that game. He did? Yeah, was it not Amrabat, McTominay, Garnacho, Bruno, Antony, Højlund? I see the idea behind McTominay playing this game. Again, it's going to be an industrious game. You're going to ask for ground coverage, and McTominay's stride length normally gives him that. His ball winning, decent. I would like to see greater work effort from him, though, I'll be honest. McTominay at the moment, but I would see the value of playing him. Eriksen, truthfully, I don't see the benefit in this game. No offence to him. I think there are some games, if you're playing against a side who sit really deep, I think you can use Eriksen, but I don't think that's going to be this game. Amrabat, I don't think is going to get in purely on current form. As good as he was last time we played Chelsea, current form, I don't think he gets in. So we are probably looking at these sort of 5 options. Someone did ask about Chelsea weaknesses, and that's important to cover as well. The big Chelsea weakness, more than anything, is I wouldn't necessarily say it's individuals, although, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Disasi at centre-back, things like that. The big Chelsea weakness for me is just that structurally, they have some similar problems to us. Intensity-wise, they have some similar problems to us. So, what they'll often do is press in a 4-4-2 shape. Let's quickly cover this. Let's quickly talk about Chelsea because that might help you pick our midfield. So, Chelsea will often press in a 4-4-2 shape, but there's a few problems in this 4-4-2 shape. One is that the defence doesn't commit all the way to the press with the rest of the team. A bit like what United, the problem that we have, that our centre-backs don't come all the way up the pitch. Chelsea have the same problem to a lesser extent. I think they are better than us in this. But, they're going to press high, but the defence won't always join them. So we know the weakness of that, of course. I would say also that actually, they just don't have physically the strongest team. You know that United are a side of quite poor duellers. We had this conversation yesterday. I'm not sure that Chelsea excel here either. Casemiro a good, strong player, but he's not the biggest in the world. He isn't just physically the biggest guy. Same for Enzo Fernandez. He works reasonably hard defensively, although I think he needs work there. But he's not like an absolute destroyer in midfield. Gallagher is good. He's a good duel winner. But the problem they have is they're just so passive. They are so passive out of possession that even as a United fan watching them, they're so frustrating to watch. Because, like I said, they're just so passive. So there will be situations where they will get pressure on the ball. They will press high. They will engage us high and cause problems. But there will also be spells during a game where it will be... Apologies. It will be far too easy to play through them. As in, from a Chelsea point of view, it's too easy for us. In terms of in midfield, I think the 4-4-2 shape is really good defensively. Before I say anything else, I like the shape. I often recommend it. But a passive 4-4-2 is you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Because the reason the 4-4-2 is normally good is because if you're intense, you can get to the opposition before they overload you. When you're passive, you let them come onto you, then they get the overloads. We know the natural overloads against a 4-4-2 is that you can create a 5 on the front line against their back 4, so you can outnumber that area. We know you can outnumber the midfield if you do it right. We know that if you invert a fullback, you can hurt them. You can overload pretty much every line, and that's the problem which Chelsea have. And it's why I would consider Dalot inverting literally straight away. Because what you'll see a lot of teams do is they'll play out from a goal kick. I keep looking at the wrong screen. They'll play out from a goal kick. I just done it again straight away. And they will have their back 4 initially, like so, and the opposition will press. Yeah, Fishfinger, I'll get to that comment in a sec, mate. What a lot of teams will do, though, is play out like this, normally, and then eventually move the fullback inside. I would really consider literally straight away doing it. Particularly if we can use Onana as kind of that extra centre-back, that extra outfielder. I'd be really tempted to do something like this. I'd be really tempted. Fishfinger saying 2-1 win, Mount goal in the last 10 minutes. Going to Blackburn Rovers versus Southampton on Saturday, and United versus Liverpool on Sunday. Now that sounds like a decent weekend. That sounds like a very nice weekend. Enjoy it, mate. Finally can talk in chat, been listening in for the last half hour whilst in a work meeting. Who needs a work meeting when you can listen to this, eh? Hope you're good, my friend. 3-2 win with an injury time winner. I don't know if my heart can take more of that, but I'm here for it. Major Chelsea weakness. 0 cohesiveness, agreed. 0 press resistant defenders. I would not go Gusto is. Cole will when he plays, but I think he's injured. But yeah, Gusto is, apart from that, I agree. High level of indecision amongst the squad. I really do feel that the Chelsea forwards are selfish buggers at times, I would be... Cole Palmer, let's be honest. Really good. Unbelievable footballer. Great. But my days, he is selfish in the final third. The amount of times you will see him shoot from the most absurd angle when there are several better options on. The same for, Gallagher not so much to be fair, but even Mudryk as well. They all do it. Corey, good to see you, mate. I hope you're well. Is there a reason we've got 13 Chelsea players on the pitch? Have we? Am I off my head? Oh, United players. We were just trying to figure out who to play, basically. We're trying to figure out who to play. Yeah, Palmer is poor for his decisions in the final third. It's crazy how similar United and Chelsea are. Yeah, they're very similar. Very, very similar. A lot of the tactical problems do reflect each other. A lack of intensity, poor rest defence, poor pressing, things like that. Anyway, let's get back to figuring out the United midfield balance, because I think we need to do this. We need to do this. What three are you going for? AJ, is it possible they are selfish because their striker is Nicholas Jackson? You know. I actually think Jackson's pretty good, I can't lie. I think he's raw still, but I think there's actually a really good profile of striker there. But yeah, I guess it could be a thing at times. If you're not overly confident in your striker, perhaps you pass to them less. But for me, it's not a acceptable reason. I think it could play into decision making, but it shouldn't, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's possible. But I actually quite like him. Such a flip-flop club. What's crazy is Chelsea will probably replace Pochettino and then win the league next year or something equally jammy. Yeah, they'll probably win a trophy in the next 18 months, and we won't really know how. How do we defeat Chelsea? All I know is Chelsea are very good on the ball. That's what we're trying to figure out, firstly, with our midfield shape. Speaking of midfield shape, Alex is saying Kobbie Mainoo, Casemiro and Bruno, with then Mount on the right, Garnacho left, Højlund centre forward. I like it, something a little bit different. Arsenal dodged a bullet with Mudryk. To be fair, he's starting to perform a little bit better at the moment, Mudryk is. He's starting to look threatening. I'm hopeful that Dalot can kind of lock that down. I'm not concerned or overly worried, but he has been on form recently. Improving, anyway. You know, for Mudryk. But no, he has been pretty decent. I'd rather get Rashford against Gusto than Garnacho. So there is a chance Gusto isn't fit. He came off in the last game with a dead leg, although he has trained since, so I would assume he'll play. I think it's a fair point to say that Rashford could get at him perhaps more than Garnacho. Again, I would also argue that Garnacho could do with being protected, but I'm not sure. Wouldn't you want Rashford for his pace to exploit a high line? Yeah, I think what I would do, personally, is start Rashford and Højlund for their transitional threat. And then, in an ideal world, go with Garnacho as well in the front three. Again, mainly for transitional, because I think this is going to be end-to-end. But particularly in this instance, I would consider Anthony for Garnacho to protect him. Played a lot of football. What is it? Something like 27 games in a row he started or something crazy, Garnacho now. He looked tired at the weekend after playing for Argentina in midweek in the early hours of the morning. I would consider rotating him, but I'm not sure. Last time we played Chelsea, they had a fair few good chances. They do create, let's just hope they can't score. To completely honest with you, I think Chelsea tactically are better than us. And that's saying something because tactically they're pretty horrible, but I think tactically they are better than us. I think the reason we've performed better in the league is actually just our pure quality of player. Mudryk compared to Rashford is night and day. Højlund compared to Jackson, Højlund's a better player. You know, Bruno compared to Gallagher in terms of individual moments. I think that's why we're above them. And I think, to be honest, I think that's what it might come down to tonight. I think it's going to be super transitional because the systems aren't great. So it's going to be, in my opinion, who's better in those moments. I think we're going to see a typical moments game. I'd imagine it will be quite exciting. Apologies if I set this up and then it's drab and horrible. But I think we're going to get quite an exciting, entertaining, end-to-end game. One which is quite stressful to watch as a Manchester United fan. And it's probably who has that better quality. Yeah, Chad, tonight could be the night where your 6-1 comes in, mate. Because I can see it in this game. Because both teams are so weird to watch. They play football so weirdly. I can see it happening. Off the top of your head, do you know the issues with Chelsea's system? Again, it's more about a lack of intensity rather than a systematic issue out of possession. On the ball, I'll tell you their problems real quick if you like. So when Chelsea play out from the back, what screen do I want to use? Let's use this one. So Chelsea playing out from the back, the first issue they've got, if you like, is they don't scream press resistance. I think Caicedo is good in these areas without being great. I think he's better with passing rather than necessarily turning all the time. And Enzo Fernandez, I think he's good without being great. So you can get at him in that way. The big problem I have with Chelsea is actually when they get further towards the halfway line. Let's just get rid of a couple of United players real quick. Let's just do that for now. What Chelsea will often do is, similar to United, once again, particularly early season United, vacate the midfield. Now, particularly what was happening the first 3, 4, 5 months of the season was that Enzo Fernandez was regularly pushed up into these positions here, up with Conor Gallagher. Then what they would do is have 2 wide fullbacks, so Gusto and Cucurella, or it could be Chilwell, at times Disasi, at times Colwell, but fairly wide fullbacks, and then 2 centre-backs. And you're going to recognise this problem because we had the problem in the first half of the season that Caicedo has got simply too much ground to cover. He is not a solo 6. Double pivot is really good, but he's not a solo 6. And he can't deal with these situations. Not many in football can. So this is Chelsea's big problem. Or it was their problem earlier in the season. Since then, the problem has changed a little bit because Pochettino at times has tried to address it. Enzo Fernandez is now dropping deeper on a more regular basis alongside Caicedo, which isn't too bad. I don't mind that too much. However, what then happens from here is they've got a new tactical problem. 2 things. First of all, when you're now playing through the lines, Gallagher, as much as I think he's a really good player, I think he's a great squad player, works hard, yada yada, he's not someone you want in the pockets, getting on the half turn, spinning, playing a through ball through the defence. It's just not really what he's great at, and I think that's a problem. The other problem they've got is that Pochettino is now doing this thing where the 2 fullbacks will fly forward, like this, probably because Gallagher isn't great in these areas, so it allows someone like Palmer to come inside, but also Mudryk or Sterling. But now what we can see is when they lose the ball, they haven't got enough players back to defend a transition. Now you might say that's not too much of an issue because Liverpool do something similar. You know, they tend to only leave 4 players back to defend transition. But the difference is when Liverpool lose it, the whole team goes high together. They press really high, they're intense, they don't give you a second to breathe. We've all seen it. With Chelsea, they don't do it in the same way. They don't have the same intensity. So when they lose the ball, they don't quickly go win it back, which means you can move it forward and then get at this defence. You will notice in particular, Enzo Fernandez will often drop into this sort of left centre-back position. If you think Garnacho up against him in transition, that looks favourable to me. That looks like a good area for us to be attacking. So that's a problem for Chelsea. I'm also not the biggest fan of Disasi, as I've said already. Rashford up against him, I kind of fancy us there. And it's another reason why I think the transition is going to be such a big part of this game, because we know that we can't defend it, right? We know we can't defend transitions. We've seen it all season. But what we can also see is that Chelsea are not great at defending transition either, leading to chaotic football made up in moments of quality. Hopefully we have the quality over them in the final third. But that's pretty much like a brief overview of what is wrong with Chelsea, basically. That's what I would say is their main problem. You can then look at, obviously, squad building, different things like that. But I would say that's kind of their main problems. And again, I think it's the main area we can exploit. Transitional football. Not necessarily what we want, because I think as a fan base we want a bit more control. We want a measured approach at times. Not sure tonight we get it. It is going to be, I feel like, an end-to-end chaotic brawl. Which brings us back to our midfield question. Is Casemiro the right man for the job tonight? He can be in other games. He can be. He's still got something to offer this squad. But is he the right man for tonight? Casemiro, how do you guys feel? Particularly if you consider this real quick. Normally when Casemiro plays, Kobbie Mainoo pushes a little bit higher. So, because Dalot nearly always inverts at the moment, right? Or plays as part of the back 3. He does one of the 2. So if Casemiro is deeper, Kobbie is higher, and then Dalot comes in, we have got to worry a little bit. Casemiro receiving the ball with his back to play with Gallagher on him. That concerns me a little bit. Casemiro is the right man. People are overreacting. Yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about long term. Particularly for this game, do you think he's right? Interested to see what you think. How about Amrabat as left back? I don't mind it. My big thing, though, the thing that I keep coming back to with United at the moment is Dalot has to invert because he packs out the midfield and just technically he's really good on the ball. He's good on the turn. He can switch the play with his right foot or his left foot. He can pass forward with his right or his left. He can get himself out of trouble. He's a problem solver. I really like Dallo at the moment. I haven't always been his biggest fan, but I really like him. I think he's in a great place. So I feel that he needs to play in this double pivot position. From left back or from right back, I want to see it. It's who do you put next to him? Do you put Kobbie Mainoo next to him? If you do, then you probably drop Casemiro and you're playing McTominay or Mount like this. That's an option. Or do you keep Casemiro in the build-up phase? You probably get rid of Mount and McTominay and bring Kobbie forward into here. And then the other question on top of that, does Kobbie Mainoo need to be protected? Does he need a rest? Maybe. If Amrabat did play left back, does that mean Casemiro could play further forward? To be honest, I hadn't actually thought too much about that dynamic, which is why I'm interested by the suggestion. Because if he plays left back, he wants to invert into midfield. Him and Dallo inverting into midfield doesn't always make sense. Unless we went with a shape similar to what we've done against Brentford, but execute it a little bit better. Something like that. That could work. We've just quickly got 2 donations in the chat, so let's quickly get through these. Ali with the $5 initially saying, would be interesting watching a $200 million midfield playing against our academy player and Casemiro. I think our academy player comes out on top. I'm not so sure about Casemiro, but our academy graduate, in my opinion, does. Thank you very much for the donation, Ali. As always, that is greatly, greatly appreciated. Guys, make sure to spam some love hearts. And also for Tony as well, who has also donated $5. What a legend. Thank you very much. Which team going forward's problems is more easily fixable? Chelsea need a positional coach like De Zerbi. That's a really good question. Which team's problem is more easily fixable? I think Chelsea's could be fixed with better coaching. I think United's you can fix easier with like a summer. Like a transfer window, getting the right players in. That's a really good question though. And also, thank you very much for the donation, by the way. Guys, make sure to say thank you. That's a good question. That's a really good question because whilst we have similar problems, they're also slightly different in how they come about. It's a great question, and I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts on that as well. I'm going to say ours is a bit easier to fix, I think. I think ours is a little bit easier to fix. Casemiro won't keep up with this end-to-end game purely because of his overall decline. Fair point. By the way, thank you again, Tony and Ali. Greatly appreciated. That's been my favourite look so far. I'm sold. Give me Amrabat at left back. So, question on this is, if you were to go for this structure, do you play Casemiro? Or do you drop Kobbie Mainoo in here and then get your McTominay or your Mount in this position? Interested to hear your thoughts. Maguire being isolated with Palmer gives me the chills. I'd rather just Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, Wan-Bissaka did play this sort of role to an extent the other day. To an extent. I don't know if you guys remember, my tactical preview before the Brentford game, the big thing which I was trying to emphasise was the importance of our fullbacks tucking in, not too far, but also far enough, being either side of Kobbie Mainoo in midfield when we do play with a solo pivot. And I felt that we were nearly there. We were nearly there, but we didn't quite do it enough. And again, Wan-Bissaka, his on-the-ball tendency, should we say, didn't always help us in those situations. But I wonder if we go for something similar in this game. I think if we do this, then Kobbie Mainoo makes a lot more sense than Casemiro, in my opinion. I think that's a fair argument. Because he's better as a solo pivot. We saw in that glimpse against Brentford again, his ability to receive, turn, play from the back. So it could work. Casemiro solo pivot would terrify me, I'll be honest with you. Because it would almost put Gallagher man-to-man with him. And I'm just not sure that Casemiro copes with that. Kobbie, I think, has a better opportunity. It's a difficult balance. So E saying about the 2-3-4-1, which we had on screen a second ago, with Amrabat inverted as well. Play Mount as an 8. I don't mind the idea. The problem with Amrabat left back for me is defensively. On the ball, I quite like the idea behind it. Defensively, it does leave Palmer up against Maguire. Obviously, Palmer isn't the quickest player in the world, but he's a very intelligent one. And I just feel like Maguire doing a lot of 1v1 defence against anyone just isn't ideal because it's not his strength. I think if you don't play Casemiro, you need Scotty just because of the height. So does that mean you don't necessarily think we'll ever really see the Kobe, Bruno, Mount midfield? If we play McTominay, Mainu will be isolated just like Brentford. Again, that's why the fullbacks are important. Because they can stop Kobe being too isolated, but only if they do the job. They nearly done it the other day. They didn't fully do it. But like you said, Mount also wouldn't be a bad option for that ability to drop into these areas. Bruno as a centre-back, I like the idea. I tell you what I'd like you guys to do, if you wouldn't mind. Just 3 names, the 3 that you would go for in midfield tonight. I want to see what you guys are overall kind of coming up with. Chelsea aren't a big side. Is height a priority? Probably not, to be fair. They're not a big side, like you said. Someone like Palmer, for example, is fairly tall, but he's not exactly an massively aerially dominant player. Jackson's decent in the air. Caicedo's not the biggest, nor Enzo, Gallagher. Disasi and Badiashile are obviously the 2 aerial threats, really. But yeah, I think that's a fair point. And again, I think it's something I've struggled with in the duel this season. So Alex, again, saying Mainu, Casemiro, Bruno midfield, but only if Mount plays right. If you, Alex, if you're playing Mount right, are you then asking Dalot to go round, or are you still asking him to invert? Mainu, Amrabat, Mount. So you're dropping Bruno Fernandes entirely. David doing something similar, dropping Bruno and going for Casemiro, Kobe Mainu, and Mason Mount. Mainu, Bruno, Mount. Casemiro, Mainu, Bruno. Most consistent midfield this season. Yeah. Mainu, Bruno, Mount. Bruno, Mount, Casemiro. Casemiro, Mainu, Bruno. Casemiro, Mainu, Eriksen at 10. Mainu, Mount, Ahmad. Not a bad shout. Amrabat, Kobe Mainu, Bruno. Play Mount at left wing. He can help. Apologies for the voice crack there. Track back defensively. Fair point, fair point. Ten Hag said in his press conference that Mount won't start. Can anyone confirm that? I haven't seen it personally, but I'm not saying you're wrong. Has anyone else seen that? Amrabat is a shout. Sometimes I forget about him. Yeah, me too, to be honest. Me too. And my channel's all about United, and I forget one of our players. I reckon Martial should come in for this. But it's correct that Mount is not a starter. Ooh. Well, that simplifies things a little bit. People saying they forgot about Ahmad as well. Yeah, back from suspension, so he is an option. Realistically, Højlund plays up front. We know that much. Bruno Fernandes plays. In my opinion, I think he'll start. I think Kobe will start. It's kind of going from there, really. Bobby the Bob, good to see you, my friend. I hope you're well. AJ, how are you? Not bad at all, thank you. Not bad at all. Pretty good. Nearly the end of quite a, not a tiring week, but I'm just tired at the end of the week. So, yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Hope you are good as well, my friends. Lovely to have you here. The Mount stuff isn't true, I don't think. Yeah, I didn't see the quote anywhere, but it might be true. I'm not sure. Oh my word, if Mount is not starting, then Kobe Mainu, Casemiro, Bruno in midfield. Wingers unchanged. I don't think he meant it exclusively. It's more to see about fitness. Yeah, I'm unsure then. I'm unsure on that situation. Could you refresh us on the skill set of Amrabat? First things first, Amrabat skill set, retention. Ball retention. Not press resistance, not kind of dropping a shoulder. Protecting the ball, not too bad. But not press resistant. It is all about retention. Amrabat's skill set comes into play when you are a side which has a lot of the ball and you want a midfielder who is going to sit there and basically tick you over. Just keep you ticking. Keep you ticking. 95% pass completion. Lots of short passes, lots of long passes. His long switches in particular are really good. I would say that is his strength. Playing as a 6 with someone next to him, keeping the ball. In a transitional side, I don't think he brings that much in possession, apart from the occasional carry over a few yards, that occasional long ball over the top. Out of possession, for me, a player which suits a mid-block, potentially a high press, although I'm not convinced. Concerns over his 1v1 defensive ability. I think I perhaps expected too much of him or rated him too highly defensively before he joined. And I think I've maybe been shut up a little bit on that front. I think at the same time, tactically, the system hasn't helped, as we've seen for all our players. But I do think he has this weird tendency, and if he plays tonight, just keep your eye out for it. He has this weird tendency where if Gallagher is dribbling like this, let's say he's dribbling on this sort of line here, right, Gallagher, Amrabat has a tendency to really overstep this way. Like, really come and commit. And then all it takes is just the slightest touch the other way, and he gets beaten. Which is another reason why my thoughts these days are he just cannot play solo pivot in the Premier League. I think double pivot in a side which wants to keep the ball, he can still be useful. And actually pretty darn good. I just don't think we are that side at the moment. So I wouldn't play him just because I think he suits the wrong style. Did Ten Hag get it wrong? I don't know. You know, if this was always Ten Hag's plan, the style we've seen this season, then Amrabat was the wrong signing, in my opinion. If the plan was to be a retention-based side more, or, you know, I'm not talking Arsenal and City level, but more than normal, then I think Amrabat would have been a good signing. Weird one. Really difficult one to judge. Let me give you a real headache, AJ. Would you rather, or who would you rather, sorry, Dallo or Gusto? I would have to lean towards Gusto. Only because I've liked him for a longer period of time. I've liked him for longer, so I would go Gusto. And I think Gusto can be one of the best right-backs in the world one day. I'm talking top 3. In a few years. Dallo, I'm not sure, has the same ceiling. Maybe he does. Dallo could as well. I think they're actually, you know, not too far off each other at the moment. I think the signings of Mount, Amrabat and Onana shows that he wanted to become more of a possession-based side. Yeah, even Lisandro Martinez last season, that suggests it. So does Anthony. But then Casemiro doesn't. Weird. Really tricky. Maybe Amrabat would work better with a higher line. Yeah, again, I think all of these players are victims of the system to an extent. Big, open gaps leaves us hurting. Not many footballers would really thrive playing that way. I would love to see Bruno as an 8 supporting Kobbie Mainoo, with Mount as a 10, false 9 supporting Højlund. Your thoughts? Well, I'm interested to get your guys' thoughts as well. How do you feel about Bruno when he plays deep? Because in games where he starts high, you know, he starts in the 10, then drops deep, I think he's really poor in these areas. But in games where he actually just is told to start here, you know, from the off, I actually quite like him. I think he's pretty good for Portugal, but also for United at times, say Everton last season. Really weird. It's really weird. He has that shift in mentality and approach to the game when he's starting deep compared to when he starts high but still comes deep. I think you get two very different players. I think my preference would still be Mount deeper, just because I think his ball retention is that, you know, that little bit better and defensively as well. But I don't mind the idea. Someone in midfield has to help Mainoo and build up. Yeah, Kobbie needs help. Not just this game, every game. He needs help. Who, though? Is it Casemiro? Not sure. Is it Mount? I think it could be. Dallo moving in, obviously, as well, is there. Our best balanced midfield would be Amrabat, Kobbie Mainoo and Mount, but we will never see that. Yeah, I would argue pure balance-wise, that is up there. In terms of balance of profiles, you probably just lack that pure creativity in the final third, but I don't mind it. I swear Bruno had a quote where he said, "I played as a 6 against Everton last season and was one of my most complete performances." Yeah, I think it was not that long ago he spoke about it. I think he can play there, for sure. But I don't know that it's what you want to do long-term, like on a more regular basis, because you do lose what he does in the final third. I love Bruno as this sort of second striker helping Højlund. That's how I like to see him. We still haven't really settled on the team we'd go for. We've got our back four, and I'm okay with it. I'm content with it. I think Kobbie starts, although I would personally consider protecting him. And I think Bruno starts. I think Højlund starts. And I think Rashford probably starts. Again, if we're talking Ten Hag here, I think those guys probably play. So the question is, essentially, who do you want for those two positions? Do you want... it can be Casemiro here, allowing Kobe to go higher. It can be Mount here, or it can be McTominay here. And then on the right, again, it could be Mount, could be Garnacho, obviously, and it could also be Anthony as well. Corey said he'd go Casemiro for the midfield. How about on the right? Again, I'm not talking long term, I'm purely talking today. I'd rest Garnacho. Really considering it. Particularly, like you said there, with Liverpool at the weekend, I would consider resting Garnacho. I really would. Anything but McTominay. Fair point. Anyone but McSaw says codename as well. Fair point. Maybe save Garnacho for Liverpool. I would be tempted. Having said that, it's a weird one though, because this does feel like... I know we can beat Liverpool. We done it the other week, right? Let's remind them of that, by the way. It does feel like tonight is the more winnable game. So do you go for tonight more as such? Like, quote, go for it? So do you go stronger for Chelsea because it's more winnable? Or because it's more winnable, do you believe you can beat Chelsea with a weaker squad and you need your stronger one for Liverpool? Difficult. Are we talking about what we want or what we think it'll be? Purely right now, I'm talking about what do you think is the best way to manage Kobe and Garnacho. I think, as Alex has said there, Ten Hag goes strong when he can, doesn't he? If the 11 is available, he goes with it. And if they're available, I think they play tonight. The kids have been forced to do too much this season. Yeah, obviously their development is boosted because of it, right? Kobe, Manu and Garnacho. But it comes a time where you've got to protect them. We do not want that Barcelona situation. We don't want it. What I will say, to give credit to Ten Hag, is that when Kobe has played, which has obviously been a lot, Ten Hag has taken him off at times, even against Brentford when it wasn't looking good. We were playing badly. Rather than keeping Kobe on to go for the win, he did protect Kobe and bring him off, which I think is a good thing, and I think it would be the same case tonight. I think Kobe will end up starting after 60 minutes, 65, no matter what the score is. If it's 0-0, 1-1, 2-1, I don't mind. I think you bring him off. Højlund, another one who we need to protect as well. You're not wrong. I've got a feeling it will be... I think for me, because of fitness and a slight uncertainty around Mount, I think it's between Casemiro and McTominay. Obviously, if Casemiro plays, Kobe goes a little bit higher and we see more of that dribble side to his game. If McTominay plays, Manu drops deep. So I think this is the last decision to make. Casemiro or McTominay. Not what would you do, because I think I know. Let's try and get inside Ten Hag's head for a second. To complete the lineup, Casemiro or McTominay, who do you think Ten Hag would side with in this situation? I'd rather see Ten Hag experiment a little bit today, but he won't. Yeah, I would quite like to see some sort of experiment. I don't know what as such, but just some sort of change. But will Ten Hag? I don't think so. People are split here. Some people saying Casemiro, some people saying McTominay. Casemiro's always played over Scotty if Casemiro's fit. To play McTominay for the perceived goal threat. I mean, McTominay was a... This was the game, by the way, Chelsea at Old Trafford, where he should have had like 3 goals. I believe he got 1. I believe Maguire shoots and it eventually falls to McTominay, who scores. What a duo. But he had a really good header just before half-time, which he has to score and doesn't. You know, half-time last time, he could have been 3-0 up. The goal threat hasn't outweighed the deficiencies recently, though. Yeah, and goals are obviously only one part of the game, particularly when we're talking about midfield. It's made up of so many different components of what you do as a midfielder. Scott does feel like he brings the box crashing on the goals, which has dipped recently a little bit, but that's fine. But then also, I guess off the ball, he does bring work rate. You know, he does win duels. People questioned this on Discord the other day. In my opinion, McTominay is still a good duel winner. I do believe that. At the same time, I do believe that his work rate has decreased this season. I don't think he covers the ground like he did before. I think when he's there in the battle, I think he's good. He just doesn't get to the battles as frequently. Does that make sense? That's how I see McTominay at the moment. I do like the idea of a poll. The issue is McTominay's distribution. Also, that lack of willingness to go and get the ball. Let's do a poll. I'm going to word this. Not who would you start, who will Ten Hag start? I think that's the better way to word it. Who will... Bang. Let's do a poll. Let's go for that. AJ, you mentioned yesterday that Dalot is the only player Ten Hag has got the best out of. I also think Maguire as well. Maguire's aggression, ball carrying and long passes, he's getting the best of. I see your point with Maguire, like when he plays, but the fact that he's also just seemed to hate Maguire for a long time kind of goes against it as well. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know, he seems uneager to engage in battles. Yeah, this is what I'm saying about McTominay. He feels like when he gets into the battle, he's still good as ever. So, which is why, categorically, I still think he's a good duel winner. When he's in the duel, I think he's strong and I think he's good. Like you've said there, he's not getting into enough of those dueling situations. That's the issue. Not that he's poor when he's in them, but he just isn't getting there. That's the problem. And like Alex has said there as well, just his final pass at times. It's annoying though, because you've said about the game against Liverpool there, where too many times on the break, he's in the final third and couldn't make the pass. The annoying thing is, he's our best player in that situation because he carries it stronger than anyone else. You know, he picks up second balls and drives in a way which Bruno Fernandes can't, but then he undoes it all by just giving it away. So it's really frustrating because there's potential for him to be so useful as a player there, and then he kind of messes it all up last second. Alex with the gifted membership. Thank you very much, mate. Who has it gone to? It's gone to Joel. Joel, make sure to say thank you in the chat, and also everybody else. Guys, spam some love hearts. We haven't turned the chat green in a little while now, so spam some love hearts in the chat to say thank you very much to Alex. Alex, that is greatly appreciated, my friend. I need to get some new membership badges sorted because some of you guys now are moving into the regions where we need a new colour. So we need to get that sorted at some point. But thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate that. It's good to have you in the live stream today as well. I know sometimes I stream at awkward times for you, but it's good to have you here this afternoon, mate. Could Mount drive into the final third like you just described? Yeah, he's the other one I think can do it. I think Mount is the other one who can do it. I think he's really good at that, actually. And his final ball is better. I guess he's obviously not physically as strong as McTominay. Physically, he's not as muscular and things like that. But I think just technically he does it better. But does he get into that position as much if he's dropping deeper with Cobby? Weird one. What do the different colour memberships mean? It's just how long you've been a member. I want to get a new thing though. I want to redesign it. If any of you guys know how to design, by the way, join the Discord, DM me, whatever, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, wherever, DM me. I would love for someone to make a new design because it's not good. I would love someone to make a new one. If you think you're the person to do it, it'd be greatly appreciated. Unfortunately, I can't really offer to pay you for it, but it would be greatly appreciated if you want to do me a favour. I got a 4 in GCSE art. Is a 4 good? I don't know what way the number system works. I was there when they done letters. This is why I'm surprised Ten Hag hasn't yet tried Mount as a 10, even in pre-season. Yeah, there was one pre-season game he did. I can't even think who it was against now. Leon? I think the Leon game he did. But apart from that, not great. No, it is not good, AJ. It is not. Okay, you're similar to me there, mate. Yeah, I think Mount is effective in a 10. I think he lacks pure creativity in a game where you're attacking a side who proper sits deep and parks the bus. But in an open game like tonight, I think Mount has a lot to offer. I would really consider him. I know we've got Casemiro and McTominay here. That's because I think it's what Ten Hag will do. personally, despite the issues with height and physicality, I would be really tempted to start Mount. But Casemiro has won the poll. I would be interested to see if that would flip if Mount was brought into it. By the way, guys, we're on 48 likes. If we could get that up to like 55, 60, that would be appreciated. Please. Doesn't take anything to do it. Doesn't cost anything. You just go. So then play Mount ahead of Bruno. It's the temptation. Or, I guess you invert fullback behind them, right? Let me end the poll there. That's the other option with Mount. You kind of invert Dalot here, and you let Mount and Bruno both play high. Again, the question mark at this point for me becomes physicality, things like that. 10 things, good to see you, hope you're well. Chelsea looks more winnable, but remember Chelsea is away. While Liverpool is at home, good point. Our away form isn't great against the big sides under Ten Hag. So yeah, I think that's a good point as well. Something to consider. I think, though, we will see this tonight. I think this will be our lineup, and I think the shape will become something like this. Leaves me a little bit concerned because Casemiro receiving in here, not convinced, particularly against Gallagher. Dalot against Fernandes, I think, has more of a chance. It does give us potential to overload in these areas, absolutely. You know, 4v3, we can do that. Højlund, I think, is very capable of beating those two centre-backs. And I think out wide we can have some luck. I think we can have some luck there. I think we can hurt Chelsea. So, there's positives there. At the same time, I have my concerns. The usual press. Is the structure going to be right? I'm not too sure. If it isn't right, can Casemiro cover the ground in there? I don't know. Let's play a game. That's a quote from something, isn't it? I just punched a mic as well. How many shots do you reckon Chelsea have in this game? And how many shots do you reckon we have in this game? I'm interested to see what you guys think, because there's been a lot of shots in our games recently. 65, is that for us or for them? Or for both? Probably them, right? If that is the shape, wouldn't you rather Mount so Mainu can be the first phase receiver? Yeah, that would be my preference, but I think Ten Hag will go Casemiro. I would be really tempted by Mount again. Palmer alone will have 7, I could see it. Chelsea 20, United 25. We take that. We score from 25 shots, surely, right? What have I done? I'm so sorry, guys. 14 shots to 7, 65, I read that one. Chelsea 24, us 34. Between Chelsea and the Liverpool game at the weekend, I reckon 70 shots plus faced, fully being serious. Yeah, it's definitely going to be 60. I've jinxed it. I have. It's fine. We'll have a 26th shot and it'll go in. It's definitely over 20 shots for Chelsea. Yeah, I was about to say, hopefully it's insert name here, saying they were bad and that they'd miss, but I'm not going to risk jinxing that as well. So, Chelsea, I'm sure you're all great at finishing, but please not tonight. 26 shots, 7 on target, 1 scored. You heard it here first, folks. Beautiful. 1-0 win, we take it. Again, I don't mean to jinx it. I don't see it being 1-0. If it does, I think there's going to be, a lot of misses. I'm expecting shots in this game. Unless both managers throw a complete curveball in there, I am expecting shots, chances, chaos. Chaos. Okay, so we've had the shot predictions. Let's get some score predictions in there. I don't know if I said that wrong. We've had shot predictions. Let's get score predictions. There we go. AJ, is Chelsea really a mid-table club, or is their setup wrong? They're probably going to finish mid-table this season, so it's quite funny to laugh at them. But they shouldn't be a mid-table club. Let's be honest, Chelsea are a big side still. They are a big side. They're not a great side, but they are a big side. If Gusto starts, can we trust Rashford to track back and help Wan-Bissaka? Thinking of yesterday's stream? I mean, truthfully, no. I guess we're almost playing that game of sometimes he's going to have to, which he will do occasionally, but also I think at times Ten Hag will leave him higher to try and counter against either Disasi or Chalobah should he start. I think it's going to be that sort of game. I could easily see us conceding because we get overloaded down this side, but at the same time I could see us scoring because we've left a player up and we transition. Weird one again. I feel like I've said that a lot today. We're just a weird old football club, aren't we? AJ, personally, whoever plays Mainu must be deep. I would agree for this particular game. Again, I don't think Ten Hag will, though. But I would like to. I would like to see Cobby drop in here. That's actually a really good point, Alex. How does Casemiro then cover this space if Rashford doesn't? Does he? Does Casemiro? Maybe not. So maybe Cobby... Maybe Ten Hag considers that and Cobby has to play deep. Maybe. AJ, was our build-up shape different against Brentford? Yeah, a little bit. It was more... Rather than the back three, it was like 2 centre-backs, singular midfielder, and then 2 full-backs either side. Sometimes quite wide, sometimes quite narrow, sometimes in between. That was basically the play against Brentford. That issue could decide the game. I tell you what, you're on to something there, mate. Can I just draw this? This area of the pitch is going to be big. Alex is spot on. This area of the pitch, because if we look at some of the players in there, first of all, Caicedo, good ball winner. Gallagher, lots of energy, good pressing. Gusto, brilliant overlapping ability. Palmer coming inside, dangerous. At the same time, we've got Rashford going forward, massive threat. We've got maybe Cobby Mainu press resistance, one of our biggest assets in the team. This is going to be interesting. This might just be where this game is won and lost. It might be. Ali saying Poch took the Champions League away from Ten Hag. A revenge story? Yes, please. Didn't you also say we haven't lost to Chelsea for 7 years? Also, congrats on the 3 months of membership. I grade it. Congrats, is that the word? Yeah, sure, congrats. But also, thank you very much. I keep coming back to being tempted by something like this. Yeah, the left centre-back as well. Maguire's recovery pace. Wan-Bissaka on the ball. You know, his one-footedness at times. The inability to support Rashford massively down this side of the pitch. Interesting area of the pitch. Interesting area of the pitch. Shout out to you, AJ, for doing that video on Ahmad like I was asking for. I don't know if you're being sarcastic, because I can't remember if I've done an Ahmad video. If you're not being sarcastic, thanks, mate. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are, that's a little bit awkward. Yeah, this is interesting. This is a really interesting area of the pitch. Alex, I think you've nailed it. AJ, I would argue that Eric has gotten the best out of Scott and Wan-Bissaka too. Yeah. Wan-Bissaka, maybe not so much, but Scott, I see where you're coming from, yeah. Anthony will start and go on Nacho bench. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I think if that does happen, a lot of people will react negatively, but I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Would it be too naive to ask for a Campbell start? I would quite like to see it, because I like the idea of protecting Varane, who's only just back from injury, after getting injured at the weekend. I'd quite like to see it, but I don't think we will. It was about Ahmad in the false 9. You nailed it on the content. Ha, lovely. Phew. Hope you enjoyed it, mate. Anything else quickly to get through in chat? If not, I'm happy to start wrapping up the stream. Does anyone... Are any of my mods here at the moment? And if so, do you have the Discord link? If you don't, it's not a problem. But it would be handy. Unpopular opinion, I actually think Mainu's skill set would be better served as a Busquets type 6 than as an 8. I don't think he's creative enough to be an 8. I think he's somewhere in between. I keep coming back to the term hybrid 6-8. I think he is that. I get your idea over creativity and the lack of it. But I think as long as he's not your primary creator, it's okay. FP, cheers, mate. So, guys, FP has just put a link in the chat to the Discord server. Get involved. Get involved. Go join the Discord. It costs nothing to join, by the way. It's literally completely free. And there's a lot of football chat going on in there pretty much all the time. Pretty much all the time. It's fairly non-stop. There's a lot of talk going on, so check it out. And also, like I said earlier, if you feel that you are the right person to try and redesign the membership badges, message me. Because I would love to have them redesigned. Maybe we could make them United themed. We could make them, you know, based around the channel name or something, whatever. That would be great. That'd be cool. So if you feel like you're the man for the job, drop me a message and I'll see what we can do. In terms of content from now, I will be live tonight with my reaction to Ten Hag's team selection. That's the plan tonight. So about an hour before kickoff. Yeah, about an hour before kickoff, I will be live again for 1 hour. And then tomorrow morning, I will be analysing the game on a video. I think that's right. Sounds pretty good to me. Ali with another $10 donation. What an absolute legend. You can tell Ali is back in the chat because the donations are flowing. Off to work, AJ. It's good to be back. Hope you have a good day at work, mate. Let's beat the $1 billion project 2-1 United with Rasmus winner. Yes, please. And Mount to prove a point to both United and Chelsea. Stay safe and always love each other. Thank you very much, Ali. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for the donation. Firstly, of course, guys, make sure to spam some love hearts. But also, thank you for your positive energy as always. It is greatly appreciated in this chat. Really do appreciate the energy you bring and your outlook on things. So thank you for joining. Hope you have a good day at work, mate. And yeah, stay safe yourself, mate. Can we make the badge AJ's face? If you can make that... No, we're not doing that, boy. No. AJ, when will we see Højlund run the channels and swap positions with Rashford? I don't know. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. I don't know when we're going to see it, though. We've also got another donation from Alex. Thank you very much, mate. With the £2 saying this game has injury time winner written all over it. Yes, please. I'll take it. Honestly, again, I feel like I'm at the point where just give me that last minute winner. Give it from, you know, Cobby, something like that. Just yes, please. Thank you very much, of course, for the donation, though. That is greatly appreciated. Absolute legend, though. You gifted a membership earlier as well, right? So thank you very much for your support. David saying it doesn't work. What doesn't work, mate? What doesn't work? It doesn't work for us. David, what doesn't work? I feel like I've missed something. I apologise. Maguire hat-trick? Yeah, I would take that. Oh, the Discord link. Ah, got you. Okay. Well, yeah, it is pinned at the top of chat. It should work. It should work. I believe. Why have I just in the comments said me, Joel? Yes, you were gifted a membership earlier, mate. Low-key hate last-minute winners. It feels good, though, doesn't it? It does feel good. My heart can't take a last-minute winner. Yeah, it's... As long as the game is alright before it, it's good. Last-minute loser, absolute dagger. Do you play so rare? I do not. I've been tempted in the past, though. Anyway, I think for this afternoon stream, we're going to wrap up there because, like I said, I will be live again tonight before kickoff, like an hour before kickoff. And then tomorrow, I will break down the game, hopefully with what I would like to call analysis. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy that. But in terms of for now, I'm going to head off. I'll see you guys in about, what, 5.5 hours time? 4.5 hours time? Something like that. I will see you then. AJ, there's someone behind you. What's he going to do, mate? What's he going to do? I'll take him on. Nearly 3 PM, nearly missed my meeting. Time flies when you're having fun, right? Anyway, I will catch you guys later. So thank you very much for joining the stream. I'll see some of you later tonight. If not, hopefully I'll see you in the Discord. If not, I'll see you tomorrow for the video. But apart from that, we are finished for this stream. Don't forget to walk the dog. Good advice. Don't forget to get some exercise in general, my people. Thank you very much to everyone. I'm going to wrap it up. Let me just quickly check a message which I want to read before I disappear. There we go. Yeah, I will see you guys later on this evening for lineup reaction. What is Ten Hag going to cook? We'll have to see. But I'll catch you later.